Episode 259, My Path to No Dig. This is the Change Underground for the 7th of June 2021. I'm your host, John Moore. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. Well, this is my story and maybe parts of it are yours too. Way back in 2004, I caught a chest infection that just wouldn't lift. After about 4 months, maybe 5, I ended up one night in accident and emergency at our local hospital, unable to breathe. Chest x-rays revealed pneumonia. That night, the 25th of August, I, in inverted commas, left the building. Twice. The next morning was the critical turning point in the flow of the disease, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. But 10 days later I was home, physically wrecked, but home. Heading into spring and the gardening season a month later, I couldn't lift a shovel. And that was a conundrum. I did have a great pile of bedding litter in the goat house that needed removing. So rather than compost it, I managed to talk the kids into spreading it on cardboard sheets in the shape of garden beds, about 2.4 by 1.2 metres. That's 8 foot by 4 foot. Now physically I was up to planting seeds, and so I did. And that's how I started no-dig gardening and haven't stopped since. Looking back a year later, I realised I'd discovered some secret. A way to improve the soil by feeding it from above and letting the soil get on with it. From this was born the ChangeUnderground system. The benefits were, and still are, my need to water was down by 80% as the straw, poop and hay mix held water like a sponge. And funnily enough, when we had excess rain, it just let the excess run off. So it was sort of a balancing tool. The veggies I harvested were like rocket fuel for my damaged body. The beds held their shape and depth over the summer and through the next winter. The lifeless sandstone soil underneath turned black, filled with earthworms in the first season. I still have no idea where they came from. I don't know if it was the brush with death or the no-dig beds, but those veggies tasted better than anything I'd ever grown. Since then I've used straight compost, pea straw, barley straw, lucerne, hay, that's alfalfa for those in North America, and chicken and or duck droppings in combination and alone. They all seem to work. What's the takeaway? I discovered that using nature's ways is always best. Get out of the way and let the soil fix itself, then it'll grow anything you plant. I've grown these gardens in a few places, the US, all over Australia, all over the east coast of Australia anyway, and Ireland, and the Change Underground system works anywhere. Now from those early gardens I've happily grown food everywhere I've lived, but there's been a growing unease, a need to be more in the world. Ever feel like there's a pull to be part of something bigger than yourself? I know I do. We face a series of crises around the world, from the ongoing COVID issues, obviously, to wildfires and floods and things that just aren't what they could be. Climate change, global warming, whatever you call it. We need to take action. We probably needed to take action 30 to 50 years ago, but now is the second best time. The trouble I have is pointlessness and hopelessness of the things that we've been told make a difference. Swapping free single-use plastic bags for maybe multi-use plastic bags we have to pay for. Separating our garbage into recycling, compostable and waste, to learn these streams are all remixed in the waste facility because the, in inverted commas, market for recyclables has collapsed. If only there was something we could do that actually made our lives better, felt good to do, and actually made a real difference, no matter how small. As it turns out, there is that one thing we can all do that affects each and every one of us. We all eat. Food, obviously, is critical to survival, to health, to comfort. The way most of our food is produced sits upon the use of oil. Fertilisers, transport, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, and I've recently heard of a new one, rodenticides, with the mouse plague up on the mainland, and they're all part of our food system. Once we add in the practices of industrial food production, and we see things are not good for us and not good for the biosphere. The one thing we can do is grow at least some of our own food. I know, I've heard all the excuses. I don't like to dig, I've got brown thumbs, I don't have the space, the weeding, the work. Yet a no-dig system that removes the work, turns brown thumbs green, virtually ends weeding and requires minimal time once it's set up does exist. P.S. It also sucks carbon out of the air and turns it into soil while you sleep and while you're awake too. So developed over 30 years of experimentation, well, 17 since I had the moment of Satori when I was crook, but really it's been 30 years of experimentation. The ChangeUnderground system is as close to a turnkey system for gardening available today. No longer do you need to come to from an ancient lineage of gardeners who pass on their secret knowledge, parent to child. The techniques are simple, the steps are logical, and the results are amazing. I've distilled the ChangeUnderground system to its bare bones so anyone can start today and be growing their food tomorrow. Food that is fit for human consumption, that actually tastes like it used to back in the day. Food that reminds you of Nana's cooking. So if you go to the website, there's a link there in the menu tab entitled Free eBook, or you can go to worldorganicnews.com/free ebook. It looks odd because you've got 3 E's in a row, but it's the correct link. And you can obtain a free copy of the book outlining the no-dig system, the ChangeUnderground system. Now, if you have any questions, thoughts or suggestions, I opened a Facebook group a while back. I've called it imaginatively the ChangeUnderground podcast group. If you search Facebook, you'll find it, or there's a link in the show notes. And in the transcript over at worldorganicnews.com/episode 259. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back next week.